I don't know if Nick shared with everyone the post, but I shared it where I could. But basically, it was just a lot of pushback on the articles about the town clerk and about the tax collector, and maybe some of the other stuff. But I think we should, at the very least, delete Article 6 and Article 8. But for those of you that saw the posts, I mean, just any feedback that you want to throw in there. I think I sent it to Todd and Matt. I don't know if Cynthia saw it. I don't know if Tim saw it, but I don't know whether Nick sent that on in a different format to them or not. So
no.
And he shared it in the call so we can see it.
These are the proposed edits.
You're just recommending that we delete the 6 and the 8, and then in addition to whatever we revise this to and decide right here, right now, I think we also ought to have some sort of a plan for how do we then go out and sell it, because we still are going to be, I think we still need to get out ahead of it a little bit, because it may be that there's a bunch of misinformation out there by now. So,
Dan, I don't think it was ever the intention of the select board to put the other two up. We just mistakenly left it or missed it on the many articles of warning.
Yep.
That I'll speak for myself anyways.
Yeah.
I'll go back to the reason that this started was simply because we felt that anybody that was handling those large amounts of money should be highly qualified, and that was better for an appointed position, and that's why it was the auditor and the treasurer. And I told you that on the phone that I certainly, and I blame myself for not catching it sooner, I certainly am not in favor of having the town clerk or any other position as an appointed position, because I feel that it's important for the townspeople to elect those positions. However, the ones that handle that amount of money, I feel we need to have certainly highly qualified individuals that we appoint and have a little more oversight on, I guess.
I agree with that. I believe we had a discussion though about not singling out one versus the other, so maybe that's how this all got together.
Yep.
But we probably should have given it a little more thought. I certainly should have, and I'll take the responsibility for that. The other thing that I think we need to look at was, in the information that we put out to the public, we need to make sure that they understand the auditors are recommending this.
Correct.
One of which is a CPA, highly qualified CPA. So that's what I mean by getting out ahead of it with some of the correct information, rather than leaving it to people to fill in the blanks that they don't know anything about. So,
yeah, I think once we make these amendments, I think we can put something out over our website and Facebook explaining that. Sorry.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Nick. This, the reason we're doing this today is it technically has not gone to the printers yet. So this revision will be obviously the final revision to go to print.
The official deadline is Sunday, and that's a deadline that Robin has to have posted the warning.
Okay.
But Bill Budd got back to me literally 5 minutes before the start of this meeting, confirming that we can have the text to him by Monday. It will go to the printer on Monday. Okay.
All right. I just want to make sure we still were on good footing with that. So I'm just going to open it up and we'll kind of walk it around the room and see thoughts. And I'm inclined to agree with Nick's deletions. But let's see what everybody thinks, or if there's any questions or concerns, or you haven't gotten the full picture of what's going on. So let's start with Matt.
So I echo Todd's assessment as well to delete Article 6 and Article 8. And I know that we talked about it at one time, but to be honest, you know, I was pre-engaged with another situation the other night when we had our call. So I was honestly doing two things at once and missed that those were still in there, because I know that while we talked about it, then I read the recommendations from the auditors, and that kind of was stuck in my head that that's where we were going based on the auditor's recommendation of a CPA to replace the elected auditors and a hired person for, or appointed position for the treasurer. I don't think that their recommendations really stretched beyond that scope. So that's the direction I was going on, and I was somewhat misunderstood and my fault, preoccupied with another situation at the same time. So I missed that. And I'm in favor as well of dropping Article 6 and Article 8 from the warning.
Okay, how about you, Cynthia?
I think that my position is the same as you guys. I was really focused on the money. And when I was seeing the articles, I was like, what? And I thought the board decided to do that. I mean, every once in a while I miss a meeting. I thought I missed something in the minutes. I was confused. And I think that, you know, as you were saying, we were considering everything that was possible, but I certainly thought we were going to focus on treasurer and auditor. And I also think that this is yet another example of how hard it is to do things over the computer, because it's just harder. You don't have things print. I mean, I do print things out often, but you don't always have every single page printed out. So we made a mistake in the context of everything we were reviewing. I don't fault anyone, because we all need to be more careful in terms of reviewing it, but we caught it. Other people caught it for us, and we have a chance to correct it. And I will try to revise the column for the paper to specifically focusing on these two aspects. And then maybe we can get that out there, because I think people may be confused. But now that we're correcting this misapprehension, which was an error on our part, things will settle out. They know that sometimes we make mistakes and things get crosswise, and the fact that we correct it immediately, I think, will be useful.
Okay. Just for everybody's information, I would call your attention to the auditor's resignation letter if you haven't read it. But it kind of dovetails with, not necessarily with the articles, but dovetails with the purpose of at least one of the articles. So if you haven't read that, you probably should.
Also, Dan, we have to approve a modified version of the report for the town report, and I think I circulate that. It just takes out a couple of sentences, but we have to do that too.
Okay. Is that ready to? Have you edited that, or do you need
sent it. Yes, I sent it.
I'm sharing my screen with it right now.
Okay. All right. How about you, Tim?
Am I on?
Yes. Yep.
Can you hear?
Yep.
Okay.
You're not muted.
I am very comfortable with the auditor issue. I read Jenna and Pat's email, their letter of resignation, and they recommended a monthly audit by an outside auditor, and I got very nervous about, whoa, what's going to be the expense of that? So I called Jenna, had a very pleasant conversation with her, and it was Jenna and Pat's recommendation to do this. And I asked her about the month, and she said it's not a monthly audit. It'll be a simple, very short monthly review and a full audit at the end of the year. in any way, when I finished with the conversation, I was very convinced that this is the way to go, and I'm comfortable with that. What I'm not comfortable with, yeah, I am absolutely not comfortable with, and Dan, as you mentioned, when this conversation started 2 years ago about appointing officials as opposed to electing them, it was all about people that handled money.
Yep.
And you know, when we took our oath to sit on this select board, part of that was to work very hard to make decisions in the best interest of the community. And I think that discussion about appointed officials that handled money as opposed to elected fit that. What I'm not comfortable with is what we're doing, from what I can see as we sit here right now, is we're singling out a position. And I'm very uncomfortable with that.
Well, actually, there's 2 positions, or actually 4 positions if you count all 3 auditors, 3 offices, or 2 offices.
Okay, so
your point is taken. I mean, that's why we had that discussion.